Welcome everybody back to Sports Talk. Here we are going to review Week 1 in the NFL. Starting off, we're just going to get right into this thing. We're going to start off right now. Just go right into the Bills and Rams game. Ryan, what were your thoughts?
Well, not what I expected. Thought it'd been a closer game. Really hard fought game because the score doesn't show the closeness of the game. You guys still give credit to both teams and they fought hard and everything like that. But we've said this before: the Bills are a very hungry team, and they came out really set a good statement. I mean, this could potentially be a Super Bowl, Super Bowl game that we could see in the future. Um, and props to Josh Allen, props to the Bills team, really coming in hot. And I think the Rams will just get better from here. Obviously, this is week one, you know, and but not what I kind of expected, but a great performance by the Bills on all cylinders. And Rams do have some things to clean up.
Yeah, definitely going to see the Rams bounce back after this. This is not, you know, the season's over kind of deal, kind of game. Yeah, I mean they just got beat by the better team. Josh Allen.
And it's hard too because we said this before, and I will say it again. Honestly, if you look at if you had to do predictions early on, the Bills, the Chiefs are the two heavy favorites coming out of the AFC. So they're going to be a hard fought game every week, whether you beat them or you don't. But it's going to be a challenge. So the Rams learned that very quickly. The Bills are a team to never take lightly.
Right. In a game about actually what I predicted would be the Saints and the Falcons game. I knew it was going to be a close game, and it turned out to be that.
Props to Mariota for his first game, really as a starter and forever. And a major props to Jameis Winston and the Saints. First game on without Sean Payton. Very close matchup. I think this does tells what the season could be like for both teams. They're just going to fight to the very end. I do think the Falcons need to find better weapons outside of Cordell Patterson to give him help. He was doing it at the run game and the receiving game. I think that's going to hurt them in the long run. But it's a rebuild team. They're coming off of not having Matt Ryan first time in 10 plus years. So we'll see. A great matchup. I caught a little bit of it, but a great matchup, great division rivalry, and let's see where both teams end up from here.
Also, Michael Thomas looking really good there for his first game after missing a season as well. He's still getting back into the rhythm and everything. I know he had at least one touchdown catch, but some also good catches as well. So we'll see if he can bring that magic back and help Winston out there with that New Orleans Saints team. All right, on our next one. This was a bit of a shocker to me, at least. I was kind of giving the edge more to the 49ers, but the Bears ended up pulling it out.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of all played in favor of the Bears. I picked the Niners to win too, just because I don't have a lot of faith in Justin Fields, but can't really say there's a whole lot of faith in Trey Lance too. I think the organization as the Niners is good. The problem I have with the Niners right now is are they fully into Trey Lance territory, or are they, waiting to see how he does and then put Jimmy Garoppolo back in, which can ultimately hurt the organization. Again, another team that needs to find more weapons. They are the most injury-prone offense I've ever seen. Elijah Mitchell's out for now, 4 to 6 weeks.
Months. 2 months, I think.
And then you have George Kittle out right now, which I think hurt them. And, again, you're relying a lot on Deebo Samuel and at the running game and the passing game. So I would like to see where the Niners come. They have a good matchup next week or this upcoming week and everything like that. But honestly, props to the Bears for taking control. It was also, again, just a really messy game. The weather was playing more in the favor of Chicago. And Justin Fields led them. I mean, that's more than you can say about that.
The field was actually flooded before the game even started. I mean, they were scraping water, doing everything they can to just get water off that field before the game even started. That's how crazy that game was. But yeah, I do agree. I don't have faith in Trey Lance. I think they're still making a mistake not going Jimmy Garoppolo, but
Problem is with that though is that there's such that that uncertainty that you talk about Trey Lance as your guy, but then you re-sign Jimmy Garoppolo, meaning you don't fully have faith because if the season continues like it does and the Niners aren't winning, I expect to see Garoppolo back in.
Yeah, I do too. All right, moving on to a game that I thought would be a bit more dominant by the Bengals side. Unfortunately, Burrow didn't do as great. I mean, stat-wise, it's showing right there, but it does not show the turnovers that he had in this game. But Jamar Chase had an awesome game.
You can't really go off of the stats, to be honest. What I saw was an ugly game of offenses, but great games on defense. Sounds like TJ Watt's only going to be out for 6 weeks or so, which is good for him.
Yep, won't require surgery for.
But this is one of the few games we'll talk about. But kicking game is, and I honestly felt like this was a Bengals team to win. I think though it was not in their favor because a lot of the problems of why they were missing the kicks was because their long snapper got hurt, and then the long snapper affected the holder, which affected McPherson's kicking ability. There is a question that there is a play in that game that is the one of the most what is a controversial one, our first one of the year, on one of Jamar Chase's touchdowns. It should have been in, and honestly looked like it was. I don't know why they never reviewed it or anything like that, but that's on the Bengals. I will say, I think I did say that never count, don't count out the Steelers because Tomlin is a great coach.
Right.
And,
right.
Mitch Trubisky is a quarterback that knows how to win. Doesn't win a lot, but he knows how to win. And again, the Steelers really just came out fired up. I think they are now looked at as the underdog in the division with the Ravens and the Bengals. That they are looked at as the third best team. And it's really against the Steeler Nation. That's really like uncommon ground for the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially under the Mike Tomlin era. They've always been kind of the top two teams. They've always, at most, they've been like the second best team. But I think this proves that, the Bengals have some work to be done and the Steelers are fighters. And so, I mean, things could definitely change the year, but I think this just solidifies that don't sleep on Pittsburgh.
I agree. All right. Also, too, that kick from the Bengals kicker, if you actually do look at that one that he missed, Holder was not able to get the laces out. So that was, going back to the long snapper, too, probably.
Well, if you watch the snap of that, the snap was...
It was high.
He had to reach for it.
I mean, you had two things. Yeah, you had a high snap, and then, trying to get down, spin it, but unfortunately you couldn't do it. So,
they weren't going to win.
Of course, everybody was thinking, that that was the kicker's fault. It really wasn't. He did his job. Unfortunately, the other two guys didn't. They'll get it worked out.
It's a piece. It's all about pieces. It's all about putting the right pieces in the spot to win.
Right. Anyway, Bengals will bounce back. I'm pretty sure they will. Next up, Eagles and Lions. Now, this is actually what I expected from this team. Actually, both teams actually looked pretty good.
They did, and honestly, I really think this shows more of a Lions fight than the Eagles because if you look at the stat line, the Eagles came out really hot in the first half, the second and third quarter, but they were blanked in the first and fourth quarter, where the Lions were consistently scoring in each quarter. I think honestly though, on paper, looking at it, the Eagles should have won. Yes, they did win, but people are not real. People are busy too much sleeping on the Lions to know that this team is ready. This team is ready for a fight. And Goff had a bad year last year, but it's his first time outside of a Sean McVay offense. And I think that they're just going to get better from here. And both teams have a lot of weapons and everything like that. And you just hope that everyone stays healthy for this and they continue on. Good performance by the Eagles team itself and everything like that, but with Dallas in the state that they're going to be in now, Eagles need to really make sure they play their games right and step up because this is a great time for them to take the division by the horns and ride with it.
And We're talking more about the Eagles, who Devontae Smith was not a factor in this game at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even think he even had one catch or anything at all in this game. Maybe not even
a couple, but not a lot.
But AJ Brown was the star of that offense of that game, which I was totally surprised he just came in and dominated.
Not surprising because you think about what he did with Tennessee over the last few years. He was a solid receiver with them, and that's what Ryan Tannehill.
I'm just surprised. What I'm saying is, though, I'm just surprised that they just went to him constantly instead of going to their Smith like they did a lot last year. So, but I mean, if you got the hot streak, you got the hot streak. The guy's getting open, making the plays. I mean, you got to go with that.
Not only that, though, you have to read what the defenses are doing, and Devontae Smith is someone that most teams are going to eye on first as the primary stop target. And which is going to help AJ Brown open up.
And like you said, the Lions, they got the weapons. They got the weapons there. Goff gets, then this is his second year.
Second year with the Lions.
Second year with the Lions. He's got Swift, great running back. He's got Amon-Ra St. Brown in there as well, who's really developing. So I definitely, as I think we said, we're predicting Lions to be third in that division at least this year.
Yeah.
So, all right. On to I call this an upset. I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah, Patriots and Dolphins.
Again, on paper, it's an upset because you think about just coaching-wise, Belichick over whoever the head coach is in Miami is. But honestly, it does not surprise me because Tua reminds me of the Miami Dolphins this year with Tua and Tyreek Hill and everything like that. Reminded me a lot of Seattle Seahawks with Russell Wilson and a few other guys. They're going to come out hot. And they're going to come up fired up, and over time, the fire is going to simmer down a little bit. So I think that the Dolphins are going to start off really hot, and then they're going to play some really good teams and get humbled. And be honest too, like Belichick does this a lot. He doesn't always win the first game. He doesn't always start off really hot. I mean, he's a guy that will go 500 and then he'll just turn it on very quickly. So not really surprising, I'm surprised Tyreek Hill didn't get a touchdown, but I mean that's neither here, neither say or there. But good win by the Dolphins. Patriots, there's no worry on their end. Just give them a couple weeks, and they're going to be the Patriots. Right. So we've
known. I just had a thought here, and I wanted to ask you. You see the Dolphins being over 500 this year after that game?
Most games like two. I personally, I think they're gonna be. They go about 500. It's gonna be like two or three games. It's gonna be like 2 games above 500.
Okay. We'll see as we get to like mid-season here. We'll probably
actually they can't go 500 anymore.
That's right, with the extra game now.
Yeah, so I think they will be above 500. I think that this is a good sign. I just think though they haven't. It just got to be a balanced thing for me. Can they start off hot and finish hot? Or are they going to start out hot and cool down?
We'll see more as we get to mid-season here, so we'll get a better idea. Next
Move
game,
on.
Brad. On. Yeah, that's exactly what
we ain't talking about the damn Jets. How Stephen A. Smith is with the Cowboys, that's how I feel about the Jets.
Oh, Mike Greenberg right now.
Pass along. I mean, is anyone surprised on this? Is anyone really surprised? Like, the Ravens beat the Jets.
Well, one thing I know, that happened. But one thing I want to pick out, and I saw him on your fantasy team, Carter, was doing really good. On the highlights that I got to see of him, that guy is going to look really promising down the road here.
All fantasy football tips, I will say this, though, is if you want to look at running backs, I know people go for the Derrick Henrys, the Jonathan Taylors. You have to understand every team's offense, and you have to understand their game scheme. And go for their second backs. Guys like, because then you think about the Jets, their number one starter is Breece Hall, their rookie. Well, Michael Carter's going to get in there. He had a really good rookie year. So it's not like they can't take the ball away from him completely. You think about Seattle last year when they had Chris Carson, he was their primary guy. Then you put in Rashad Penny. Now you have a 2-back set. Honestly, Michael Carter is someone to watch out for, I think. He is a little fired up. He is definitely fired up for the fact that Breece Hall comes in and gets the job from him when he never actually should have lost it.
Right, and as we've been seeing right now in the NFL here over the last few seasons, a lot of teams doing this, doing the two running back set, not just one main running back anymore. Keeping two guys in there, keeping them fresh, and we'll talk about that more with some other teams here as we move on. So onward, Jaguars and Commanders. Why it feels weird saying Commanders?
Well, it's because we grew up saying the other team.
I know,
and then we spent 2 years with the football team.
Yeah, the Washington football team.
I mean, let's give credit to which credit to with both teams. I don't think highly of either one of these teams to do well this year, but it's a great game for Carson Wentz to get a 4-touchdown game, to get a win in Washington, to build his confidence up, and honestly, for Trevor Lawrence to have a good game. I think this shows that both teams are guys, teams to not sleep on. I'm kind of that way. I kind of think that, I don't think very highly of these teams, but I think that they prove that, hey, they can play and they can fight, and you can never know. And they competed, and so both teams, they get credit. I think they both played out very well. And props to Carson Wentz. I've always liked Carson Wentz. I felt bad for the Super Bowl year of the Eagles because Foles gets all the credit, but Carson did everything.
He got him to the playoffs.
Well, that was his MVP year. He was MVP up until he got hurt. So you feel bad for him.
Yeah. I mean, this could be, his bounce back year finally. We'll see what happens. We'll also see here if Trevor Lawrence can actually get the Jaguars,
winning season. We're not going to the playoffs.
Yeah, just Jaguars, you're just playing for a winning season right now. That's all you really need.
Listen, Jaguars are the football team. Is the football equivalency of the Seattle Mariners, okay? You just want a winning season. If you get in the playoffs, that's good for us. Like, we're good. We're not thinking Super Bowl, all right?
All right. Moving on. We got Browns at Panthers, about what I expected. Mayfield going against his former team.
You said the Panthers are...
I did pick the Panthers to win this.
Don't act all confident and be like, I knew this was going to happen.
But watching
goldfish at you.
Goldfish at me, thank you. I will say this. Watching Cleveland, as we were just talking about with the two running backs team, watching both Chubb and Hunt in this game, that was actually really good what they did in that game with them. With Chubb pretty much getting them down the field and then Hunt punching it in for them.
Yeah, and then you also think about giving props to Jacoby Brissett, a winner. This is a quarterback that was a backup to Tom Brady. He was under the Bill Belichick. And,
I didn't even know he was on the Browns until, I saw the game, and it was like, oh.
Well, I'm honestly, I didn't know who was the starting quarterback because, they talked about Sean Watson and everything like that.
Right.
Baker Mayfield. He showed a lot of promise. He does have his struggles and everything like that. The Panthers are still going to get together. I think that they just need a couple weeks, and then you're going to see a very strong Panthers team. And, again, really good matchup. I'm surprised by this, but then again, I forgot about the two running back set, which is going to help the Browns in the long run. So
I think that's just going to be would you say on offense that's going to be their bread and butter through the whole season?
They should, because I don't trust Deshaun Watson when he comes back, and honestly, if they start throwing the ball more with Deshaun and getting away from that, it's going to hurt them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see when Deshaun comes back. Heck, even when he probably does get reinstated, he probably won't even play his first week. Anyway.
Oh, he will. He's playing Houston that week.
Anyway. All right, our first overtime of the season ended in a tie, which is very unnatural.
Overtime.
I'm sorry, yeah, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. I'm sorry, our second overtime of the week, which actually ended in a tie. As far as I could tell in this game, Taylor looked really great in this game. Matt Ryan was Matt Ryan, average in this game is what I saw. Other than that, I can't really say much about the Texans. I know the Texans' defense was actually looking really.
Well, and this is not saying that you just don't know what Matt Ryan shows up. I know people always hyped him up and everything like that. And he's not a bad quarterback, but he hasn't been like truly the MVP that he once was. So in my mind, I give the win to Houston because this was unexpected.
Yeah,
this was unexpected because the Colts, on paper, the Colts should wipe the floor of the Texans. But I give more props to the Texans. You fought hard. You tied with the team that potentially is gonna win your division. So more props to you.
All right. By the guy, wait, real quick, guys. I'm sorry that I'm yawning a lot. I was up early, didn't sleep a whole lot. So that's why if you see me yawning a lot, it's not because I'm bored or anything. This was an upset, in my opinion. Giants at the Titans. Yeah, Saquon Barkley came to play football. Back to his original form. He was looking really great in this game. But yeah, I mean, just one play. It was a 2-point conversion, which luckily the Giants got that helps them seal that game.
Well, just the fact that more credit's got to go to Saquon Barkley. He's been so injury prone, and he's been on the cusp of being considered a bust because he can never stay healthy. But this is a great win for the Giants, a great boost for them. I think now it's Tennessee. You got to figure your stuff out because you shouldn't have lost to the Giants.
No, with what they have what they have there, they should not have.
Well, I think also too. I'm gonna say it again. He was overrated, in my opinion. Overrated quarterback. If I was Mike Vrabel, I'd get on him a little bit more and do better. Because yeah, he threw for 2 touchdowns and everything like that. But if you really watch his gameplay, he's not like, hard to say, but he's not. He kind of goes with the flow,
right? Also, Hillard in that game for Titans was really good as well. I'm not sure exactly what Henry did. I know he had a couple big
80-something on yards.
Okay.
No touchdowns, but he had like 80 plus, or he had like 84.
Okay. So sounds good. All right, moving.
Not great, but.
Yeah, moving on. This I'm very happy to see. The Packers at the Vikings, with the Vikings putting a whoop ass on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is what happens when you don't play the preseason and you put yourself above everybody else, and that's what Aaron Rodgers is. And this goes to show that, and some people are going to say, give the Packers time, they're going to come around, which will probably happen. But why not give credit? And people really downgrade the Vikings a lot, but Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback.
Yeah.
People need to stop with this hatred of him because he's not a sexy pick. The sexy picks are the top 5 quarterbacks you see every year. But Kirk Cousins does a great job, and he obviously knows how to win, and he did it now. So, great game by the Vikings. I'm very happy to see them shut down the Packers like they did. And, Aaron Rodgers, I hope this is a wake-up call for you because your prima donna crap needs to end.
Right. And like I said, too, Kirk Cousins is good. I think he's going to fly. He's been flying under the radar, but I think he's actually going to get more attention this year than he actually has been getting.
For a couple of years, though, he's always been kind of subpar stat line. In the last like 2 years, he's been actually in the top 10 of stat lines.
Yeah. Plus, with another team that you'd like to use in the dual running backs as well with Cook and Madison. And then Justin Jefferson, just balling in this game, and Thielen had some catches as well. This is why I'm picking Vikings to take that division.
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right, on to Chiefs at the Cardinals. Chiefs just, steamrolled the Cardinals from the get-go, pretty much.
Oh, no, it was a steamroll. You could say it, dude. It's an ass whooping.
It was an ass whooping.
It's a straight-up ass whooping. First of all, Patrick Mahomes, 5 touchdowns. Eat it. Really just showed that, honestly, it kind of just goes out there and you start to question the Cardinals and you wonder, are they worth the hype that people talk about, or what? Because Kyler Murray didn't play really well at all. Actually, no one really did on the Cardinals, to be honest. I mean, if you look at fantasy stat line, and yeah, Buda Baker had a good game, but really, this is a Chiefs team that people didn't have a lot of hype about without Tyreek Hill. And then Mahomes goes out there, throws 5 touchdowns, and pretty much says pound sand.
Right.
So
I think it doesn't matter that Tyreek is gone. I think with what he has there, even with the acquisition of Juju Smith-Schuster, you still have Kelsey. You still have some other guys there that that have been on the team as well. I didn't realize until I was watching the Chicago game that Pringle was gone as well. But I think they're still going to be dominant, and those other wide receivers that they have, are going to develop over time. So I don't see any shortness of weapons for Mahomes this season.
Well, that's why I said, like, if you realistically speaking, I think there's 2 teams guaranteed to fight for a Super Bowl this year. One, there's a third team that's in the running, but we'll see how they do. But the Chiefs and the Bills are the top teams in the AFC. And it showed it in these 2 games that these teams did. Double-digit wins and everything like that. And they're ready. They're not going to slouch. And because you think about Mahomes having a kind of an off, kind of had a bad year last year. Last year was considered a bad year. Well, let's fix that. He's all about change. He's all about playing better. So great start for the Chiefs, and let's see how they continue.
All right, for them, and then we'll see what these Cardinals turn out to be this year because I'm not expecting them to be as dominant. Exactly, I think they're going to be overrated. So even if they do get Hopkins back, I don't think it's going to be
because of help week 6.
Anyway, this was a great game. Raiders and Chargers. Herbert looked awesome.
I think you have to look at both teams and just think that this is exactly what we talked about. The AFC West being strong. And one team had to lose. And I know people are going to say, well, the Raiders aren't that good. Well, I think the Raiders are better than what people think. And they fought hard because it's only a 5-point loss to the Chargers. Herbert looked amazing. Chargers are, like I said, they're fired up, ready to go. There's a lot of hype about them, but the Raiders are proving don't sleep on the Raiders. Yeah, you could beat us, but that doesn't mean they're going to go out without a fight.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at all the stat lines there; they're all Raiders players that led the stat lines. So there's goodness there. You just gotta, the Chargers are just better. Like,
right,
they're better, but it doesn't mean the Raiders suck.
Yeah. Even though we don't know the extent of the injury with Keenan Allen right now, where that's going to go, we'll see what happens there. But don't count Raiders out. I mean, they're still getting used to, Josh McDaniels' new offense here. Davante Adams is still getting up to par with Derek Carr and all that. Chargers defense looked really good as well in this game.
To your statement there, you've said before that Kirk Cousins is one of the most underrated quarterbacks. I agree with that. I also think Derek Carr as well. I think Derek Carr is also a really underrated quarterback that people just write off very quickly.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I was saying last year, unfortunately, when Gruden got fired.
There's no let go. That dude was fired.
I mean, if you look at the games that Gruden and Carr were together in that season, up until then, they were doing great. And then after that, Carr kind of went downhill a bit. So...
One thing Gruden did to the Raiders that people don't really understand is he gave them all confidence, especially Derek Carr. He believed in Carr. He easily could have traded away Carr for anybody else. I mean, even the talk of Marcus Mariota coming in, that there were talks that Mariota was going to take over. Gruden didn't want that. Gruden knew Carr was good and just he needed the right system. Because you think about the Raiders, too, up until last year, they had so many coaching changes and offensive coordinator changes. It's hard for players to go through that. So
right,
watch out for the Raiders.
Yeah, watch out for the Raiders, and definitely the Chargers are going to be a force to be reckoned with this season.
Oh yeah.
All right, very boring Sunday night game because I watched this from beginning to end. Buccaneers and Cowboys. Both teams started off not doing too well. But then the Buccaneers ended up blowing it open, and Tom Brady was Tom Brady. And yeah, Cowboys, you're already in trouble.
Well, I mean, what I was saying earlier about the Eagles taking the vision by stand, by holding and riding with it and like take control. This is the night now, unfortunately, with Dak Prescott out for 6 weeks. It's an unfortunate loss for the Cowboys. I honestly I could see them trading or trying to sign a quarterback soon. This game was not as expected as I was thinking it was going to be. There's a lot of hype. But when your star quarterback goes out in the first quarter, something like that, whenever Dak went out, like you just became bland. Not very explosive by the Buccaneers with Tom Brady. However, I mean, Tom only played a series in preseason, and again, I said this too that you just gotta. Tom's gonna turn it around and everything like that, but Tom never starts off hot. Tom never comes out of the gate flying with high numbers and stuff like that. So give the Buccaneers your time. It's going to turn around for them. I still think they're the heavy favorite of the NFC. But yeah, I mean, this was just a bland, boring matchup.
Yeah, it was. All right, on to our last game, Monday Night Football. Broncos at the Seahawks.
Broncos?
Yep, Broncos.
Sounds like you're saying the team name of the old 90s cartoon Bonkers.
Bonkers.
I don't know, Disney Channel.
Bonkers. I will say this about this game. I think both teams on both sides of the ball were good. I think they both had great stuff on both sides. And this is actually, the score is actually what I predicted, being a close one-score game. And you're smiling, you want to laugh at me, so go ahead and say what you want to say.
Finish your statement.
No, I'm good.
Finish your statement.
I did finish it.
Done?
Yep.
All right. I think 3 sides of the ball was good.
3 out of the 4?
3 out of the 4.
Okay. So then I'll ask. What side did you not see good?
The Broncos offense. Take away the 60-yard touchdown by Jerry Jeudy from Russell Wilson. There's a way less, it's not even close. Because that touchdown pass, look at that touchdown pass. If the rookie corner actually turned his head sooner, that ball is either picked or knocked down. Jamal Adams, mind you, they lost Jamal Adams very early on.
Right.
But with Jamal in there, it was a whole different game. They were shutting those guys down left and right. And it wasn't until the fourth quarter that they started clicking better and everything like that and taking advantage. But to me, Broncos defense did a good job. They contained.
Yeah.
And the thing about Seattle's offense, they did better than I expected because we're so used to the explosiveness that Russell Wilson brought us that now we're going back to a balance-based offense, but they exceeded expectations in my opinion. But that being said, the Broncos defense stepped up when they really needed to, forced a couple fumbles, got to Geno Smith at the very end with Bradley Chubb and everything like that. And then Seattle's defense, I think, deserves the credit for the win. Especially think about the two fumbles on the goal line. Again, and I understand your statement, and I think your statement's right. Longevity wise, I'm also looking at the fact to take away that one big play, and that offense is not even that good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there is that. Just like you were saying about Chubb there. I mean, he didn't start out so great. He even got that penalty early on that he got all upset about. But he moved on from that, and then he just became a tear on that offensive line and on Geno.
The Broncos defense kept him in the game. I think again, you have to look at both defenses and say that that's what helped this game to be as close as they did. Because I think both defenses deserve it. Because theoretically, I think Seattle's offense did a little bit better than Denver's offense, and I'm not just saying that because I'm really bashing on the Broncos and Russell Wilson, but I really think though Geno in the first half was moving the ball very cleanly. He was 17 for 18 and 117 yards and a touchdown and 2 touchdowns. had great control. The Denver Broncos defense came out in the second half, completely figured out and played a lot better. Seattle's defense from start to finish really gained control. And outside of, because even think about it too, Russell tried on those rookie corners again and failed every time. That shows me that it was one lucky play. And again, watch that play. It's literally, if he turns his head a second or a half a second earlier, that ball's knocked down. He was right there. And if you watch it, it's literally just, right. And two, what also helped the Denver Broncos offense get to where they needed to in goal line is they capitalized on a couple of very blatant pass interference calls. And that's what was getting them moved up. And the same can be said about Seattle's offense. They were moving the ball really well because Denver had 12 penalties. But I think I'm not taking away. It was a great game.
Yeah.
And this might be the only win Seattle gets all year. I don't care.
I mean, we were all happy. We're all happy that we just won this one game. We're good for the year.
I think, too, to look at it, too, is, again, this is going to be a little bit of Russell Wilson bashing, but you're a high-paid quarterback, and you literally couldn't beat a team that wasn't even supposed to win.
It's like Ryan Clark made that one post. Why am I paying this guy all this money, not to get that, that first down?
I think, though, that right. So I have a theory about those. Is one, they're not together yet. You think about it. Yeah, you practiced together for all those weeks of preseason. Fine.
Yeah.
I said though,
if
you don't play a preseason game, get live game action time, you're going to struggle. And that's what the Broncos showed. That they are not cohesive in it because they didn't play in a game-like scenario.
Right.
And, okay, I mean, we can go into a statement about how the Seattle fans booed Russell Wilson, and I've heard commentators now about, that's disrespectful. First of all, my response to all you guys, you ever been to New York? You ever been to Boston? You ever been to Philadelphia? Fans are 10 times worse. All right, and Seattle fans, there are probably people that cheers for Seattle, and I applaud him for his time in Seattle. But you're wearing another jersey, man, and you're not a legend like Brady and Peyton Manning and the Michael Jordan or Steph Curry. Like, you're not one of those legends, all right? You're a good quarterback. You're the best quarterback Seattle's ever seen. But if you look at a list of quarterbacks, it really is not that good. It's literally not.
No.
You think about, honestly, think about him as the same line of the Seattle Mariners. You can think of all the old Mariners and like all the great years. 95, 97, 2000, 2001, we cherish the most because, well, they were the best of the very shitty situations.
Right. Also, the one thing to take away from this, too, is Seattle's special teams, too. They looked really good as well. Got some really good
It was a very well-done team win. They did everything.
Exactly. It was a team win.
It was. And also, I will say, because I've said it, I haven't said it yet. Say one time. Broncos country, let's ride. Yeah. Ride that shit to the lost, bitch. I gotta turn off the rice.
All right.
You can go on and continue.
Yep. All right. So that will wrap up here our week 1 here review. As always, guys, let us know what you think, what your thoughts are. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Do you have predictions as well? Throw those out there in the comments here, and this will be up on YouTube, and this will be on Twitch as well. Also on Twitter and Facebook there. There'll be links for this as well. So make sure you guys go and check that out. One thing before we move on to predictions for next week, one thing I want to actually ask Ryan here is, after watching these games, or just some that you saw, do you see where, how do I want to word this, starters not playing in preseason games that affected the week 1 performances?
Oh yes. Because looking at 2 games especially, I might call it the prima donnas one more time. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. Look what happened. You guys are supposed to be top 5 quarterbacks, and you played like you were shit, and it really showed. I think you got to get over yourselves. I think you got to get over this pride thing. Oh, we don't want to play preseason. We're too good for preseason. Well, you need to, especially you think about Aaron Rodgers. You lost Davante Adams. You don't have a strong receiver core. So you need to be a leader out there. And I think that's the other thing, too, is that you look at starters, and I'm mostly going to call out quarterbacks for this. Quarterbacks are always looked at as the leaders of the team. And when you guys decide to not play in preseason because you're too good, I honestly going to say, I don't think it's a consideration of thinking like, oh, saving ourselves from injury. No, you're thinking you're too good for preseason. That kind of crap pisses me off because again, your team is not the same from last year, so you don't know if you have that good connection.
Right.
You know, all of offseason, Aaron Rodgers is too busy figuring out if he was getting married or not. Russell Wilson was spent all of offseason doing whatever with Sierra and then deciding to leave, deciding to accept the trade to go to Denver. And then bad mouthing Seattle for costing him an MVP or not having to carry the team. And it's like, and now I'm going to say this, we're going to do a Seattle sports talk and I'm going to get a lot more into this later. But, like, if you guys are that way, then shouldn't Patrick Mahomes be that way? Shouldn't Tom Brady be that way? Because say what you want about Tom Brady, he at least came back and played the last preseason game for a series. He at least played. Yeah, he took 2 preseason games off to for personal reasons and to he's 40-something years old. He needs time to heal. 45, and he needs time to heal. But look what he did. He came back and played a series. He at least gave them something.
That's more than what most of these guys did.
Yeah. And, if you're coming off an injury, that's one thing. If you're coming back off an injury, so, you think about, like, I wouldn't expect Derrick Henry to because he's really coming back from a serious injury, and his first game back was the playoff game. But he still was out there. All these guys, it shows me that you're thinking that you're above everything. And this is what's problem with sports is that people are starting to think that they're above above everybody else. And, oh, I don't need to play a preseason game. No, you kind of do because you're rusty. You're rusty as everybody else. And when you're at a quarterback and you play the ways that you did, both Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, I'm sorry, but you're showing me that you're too good for your team and you're too damn selfish.
Right. And I couldn't agree with more. I'm sorry. I don't care how long you've been playing the sport. Always live games are going to always help you prepare more. You can practice all the fuck you want. Being always in a live game, I think, is always going to be help you give them more mentality, help you get more focused.
Again, Tom Brady was gone for 3 weeks. Came back in the very last week of the preseason. Still played a series. I'm just saying.
Right.
Tom can do it. What's everyone else's excuses?
Exactly. Now we're gonna move on to next week's predictions. All right, week 2 we got, which I think is gonna be a very awesome game. We got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll go ahead and I think it's gonna be a great game, but I am definitely gonna pick KC at home. I mean, you got to go with the.
This was tough.
I know.
I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go Chargers slightly. I'm going to go Chargers by ever so slightly. I think the defense is what's going to be the winning thing, and for the Chargers against Kansas City. I will not be surprised if Kansas City wins. I mean, they're coming off with the hotter hand compared to the Chargers, but don't sleep. I'm never gonna. You can't sleep on this game. It's gonna be an amazing game. But give me the Chargers over the Chiefs.
All right. New York at Cleveland. Cleveland.
Skip. I'm never gonna root for a New York team, so don't even ask me. If it's New York, I'm gonna avoid that game. Period.
Right.
I'm gonna ask why the game's playing so crappy.
Washington at Detroit. I think Detroit's gonna get this one. I think this will be their first win.
I think Detroit will win this game. If I had, I know some of you guys are like, "Oh, you have to make a pick on the Cleveland New York Jets game." Fine, give me Cleveland. But this game, I don't know, slight edge to Detroit. Again, really hard because Carson Wentz. But then again, the biggest thing to me is Carson Wentz. Is he going to be Carson Wentz that we saw last week? Be Carson Wentz that we've seen before, where he sucked. Give me Detroit. They're fired up, more hungry.
All right. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Tough one, but I'm gonna stick with the veterans. I'm gonna stick with Tampa Bay. I don't. I still don't believe in Jameis Winston. Still, even though he had a pretty good game, but he got pretty banged up as well. And I really have yet to see New Orleans defense really step up. So I'm going Tampa Bay.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Who dat? Who that say that beat them Saints? Well, it's gonna be the Buccaneers. Bucks.
Carolina, New York. Carolina. More. I don't need to say more.
Watch out for Barkley. He could have another great game, but Carolina.
New England at Pittsburgh.
I'm going to go New England because with the loss of TJ Watt is going to hurt Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I'm going to go with New England too. I think this will be their bounce back game after the week 1 loss. Forgot to mention this earlier. I did not see anything more news on Mac Jones and his back injury. So that might come into play as well. So keep an eye on that. Indianapolis at Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. I don't trust Indy's team fully.
Yeah, I'll go with Jacksonville as well. I think, yeah. Especially after Kirk looked really good in there and Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
So that and Indy's defenses and all.
I expect Jonathan Taylor to have another great game, but again, I got to bring this up. The same thing I brought about Carson Wentz. But Matt Ryan is going to show up to play.
Up next, we got Miami at Baltimore. I'm going Baltimore.
Light edge, but give me Miami. Again, I'm taking hot team. I'm taking hot start. I'm going to go Miami over Baltimore.
Well, Atlanta at Los Angeles. I'm going Los Angeles, I should say. Excuse me. I'm going with the Rams. This will be their bounce back game.
Yeah,
getting them back in the motion.
Rams take it.
All right, Seattle at San Francisco. Well, after watching that San Francisco-Chicago game, yeah, I'm not too thrilled with San Francisco this year, so I'm picking Seattle over San Francisco.
I'm going Seattle over San Francisco. Very close game. There's just too many injuries for San Francisco and Seattle. Could ride this hot train that they're on, and they're a team of resiliency, and they are just they are believing in themselves more than anyone else is. That's helping their confidence.
Right. Cincinnati at Dallas. Once again, same thing. Not after watching the Dallas game and Dak with his hand injury now. Burrow bounces back and that first win of the season here. So, Houston at Denver. I'll pick Denver. I will pick Denver. Russ gets his first win. Broncos.
Yeah, I don't want to say it, but
Houston's defense is looking good, but they still need to get their offense figured out.
Screw it. That crap.
Arizona at Las Vegas. I'm going with the Raiders.
Yep, going to go Vegas on that one.
Chicago at Green Bay. Yeah.
Here's my pick. I'm going Green Bay because Aaron Rodgers is not gonna screw up twice. He's gonna bounce back and pick apart the the Cowboys because again, or not the Cowboys, the Bears. But then because again, the Bear are the Bears really that good, or was San Francisco injury prone and not ready? I think it's more so they took advantage of a bad situation in San Fran. The Packers.
Yeah, and as we've talked about a lot, we still don't believe in Justin Fields. I still don't believe. I think he just got a lucky win last week, even though I'm not, like I said, have a whole lot of faith in San Francisco this year. But yeah, Green Bay.
Well, they didn't like blow San Francisco out of the water. Like they didn't blow them out.
No, it was going to be a close game, but
San Francisco was already winning too. Like they were leading majority of the game.
Monday Night Football. We got 2 games that day. Starting off with Tennessee at Buffalo.
Buffalo for me.
Buffalo.
The Bills.
The Bills. And this might actually be a pretty good game. Minnesota at Philadelphia.
Pick first.
I'm going to stick with Minnesota.
I think Minnesota's the better team. I think Cousins is going to play out again. Hurts is a more athletic quarterback compared to Kirk Cousins, so it could favor more into the Eagles' run, but I still think the Vikings are a better team overall.
Right, even though, Hurts and Brown had a great week that last week, I think that Minnesota defense, is going to help shut that down for that game.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the other thing, that Minnesota defense is underrated too.
Everything about Minnesota is underrated.
Yeah, everything about Minnesota is underrated.
Except for the Timberwolves. They suck. And the Twins. They're questionable. And the fact that their number 1 college name is the Golden Gophers. Like, really? A Golden Gopher?
Really?
That's pretty unique. I actually like that.
That sounds like a Pokemon, a golden Pokemon shiny.
Again, I like unique team names like, the Oregon State Beavers. Who's intimidated by a beaver? You got the Ducks, you got the Pooches from Washington, you should change your name from the Huskies to the Pooches. Pooches.
All right. That's all I gotta say. Anything you want to add before we sign off?
No, we're gonna do another show. We're gonna do Seattle Sports Talk, so we can talk about kind of advertise a little bit. We're gonna talk Seattle sports. We're gonna talk about especially Seattle sports in play right now. So the Mariners, the Hawks. We are gonna talk about our 2 favorite schools, Washington and Washington State football as well. Probably won't get into Sounders, just for a warning, because we're not really big into soccer and everything like that. But as we want to do it, we want to do a separate show for Seattle sports, because there's obviously a lot of passion there, especially for the great win by the Hawks this first game. Both Cougars and the Huskies are at 2-0 right now, going to a big weekend of games. And with the Mariners on the verge of playoffs for the first time in 21 years. But yeah, I mean, NFL is panning out to what we noticed to see in the NFL. It's really early in the season. You see a lot of you see some serious injuries right now, some really key star players, and it's going to be interesting to see how teams bounce back from that.
Right. Looking forward to that Seattle sports one, as we definitely are going to have a lot to say during that whole podcast. Looks like that's going to be it for us, everybody. Thank you very much for coming out and watching this and listening to us ramble on about football. Appreciate it as always, like and subscribe. Follow us on social medias as well. And as always, leave comments. Let us know what you thought, what if we're right, if we're wrong, if you agree. Well, same thing. Also, if you have any ideas for us to do or anything you want us to talk about, feel free to share those in the comments as well. And I'll let Ryan go ahead and sign us off. Good night, everybody. Thank you.